Why are you walking around not holding an American flag if you are American citizen?
How does the economy even survive that?
That's not saving money. That is empowering abuse.
You want to be courageous? Be afraid and do it anyway.
Number one, what triggered us to speak out, right? Like, we're traditionally siloed in what we talk about, but like you have just come out swinging. So have we. So let's just talk about that.
I think we're all on a list together.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, we're going to France on Monday, and I'm thinking we need to get burner phones to go through security with, because you're hearing they're searching phones.
So not to freak you out, but I heard it's mostly immigration lawyers. I thought for sure that I would be on a list because creators smaller than me were getting harassed. So I was like, there's no way. So I actually brought a burner phone to Italy.
I'm going to do that.
And it was all this effort, and like I had a plan with Gabby. I even told you're my emergency contact, by the way. I was like, if something super fucked up happens, I know Mike and like 2 other people. I want you to call them immediately, and we put those phones in there. And then of course we walked right through, and there was no problem after all that.
You never know. They
at least
would
we have a
love
plan
to censor us.
Yeah,
we're the ones that want to cut the head off the snake.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if not for social media, I think a lot of shit that's in Trump's big, beautiful bill would have already happened. I think a lot of shitty things would have already happened, but because we don't have to rely on mainstream media as much anymore, because it used to be Trump could just go threaten whatever studio and get them to, we'll quash that story. We'll talk about Brad Pitt is on Ozempic. We'll talk about that now.
Or Diddy.
Yeah, right? Or we'll talk about Diddy. Dude, I got to be honest. I don't care about the Diddy trial. Like, there's too much more shit going on right now. Yeah. Celebrity news.
As I say, I don't know Diddy about that trial.
I don't know. There's the dad joke. There we go.
Okay.
Are we hopping on?
Let's just do this. Let's just talk how we're talking.
He tends to turn on the cameras without us knowing it.
That's the best way to do it, honestly. I heard that's the way Joe Rogan does it. He just walks in, you start talking to him.
Yeah,
and a lot of
I like his style.
Wait, are we rolling? He's like, yeah, we've been rolling the whole time. Go ahead. You know.
It's so good. It's so important.
So who are you telling to go?
I tell a lot of people dude, I talk a lot of shit.
I know you do.
It's wonderful, though, because you're saying what so many people think and don't have either the platform to express or the courage.
I'll call it what it is, the privilege. You know, it's easy to sit here and be like, oh, it's courage. And maybe there's a bit of that. I'll be honest. I'm a little scared sometimes.
Why?
Why am I scared? I'm only one guy. I'm not going to beat up. If 10 masked armed men come to my house, that's not an indictment of how tough or manly I am. I can't fight 10 guys. And even if I could, they're going to send 10 more. Like you can't, they say you can't fight City Hall. You can't fight the federal government, physically at least. But right now there is still enough institutional inertia behind the country that we can speak our minds. The First Amendment still exists. But really it's privilege that I have. I'm white, I'm middle-aged, I'm educated, I have more wealth than the average person.
You're a lawyer.
And I'm a lawyer. I know the rules. I know the game. I own a law firm. I have powerful friends. Like, I'm in a position where, it is a little scary to stick my neck out sometimes, but I am much more insulated than a lot of people. So I think there is a sort of moral obligation for someone who has the privilege I have to keep being loud and go to the No Kings protest and wave my big ass flag and put on my camera and say, I'm here. Like, we're speaking out. Like, we're not okay with this. Because a lot of people can't safely do that. Right. You know, a lot of people would probably love to go out and be more vocal, but they're like, I'm first generation. My dad isn't documented. And there's a million reasons that can be the case. Like, so many people knee jerk and say, oh, your dad's undocumented. Your dad's a criminal. Get him out of here. It's like, you don't know people's circumstances. Right. And you guys work in the immigration field. You know that it's not so simple as just buy a ticket and check the box. You have clients who have probably been working, 12 years trying to be legal?
For the record, we have of-counsel immigration lawyers.
Okay, yeah.
So we don't practice it per se, but we partnered, and so we are a conduit too.
But we were all trained in the Constitution.
That part.
I think one of the things that you're so effective at, that I feel like we're pretty good at too, is articulating in a lucid, clear way what the foundational ideals of our country are. Yeah. Because people use these trigger words and they say, get rid of all the fucking illegals.
Yep.
And you're like, we're not saying that we are condoning illegal behavior. What we're saying is you can't make an assumption because they're brown-skinned
I know.
that they're illegal and thus due process in the Constitution doesn't need to be followed. And you can't say, as we all know, you can't say, well, if they don't have anything to worry about, then let's just round them up and we'll figure it out later. That's like the contrary opposite of
That's
what
guilty
our,
till proven innocent.
that's
is
what our
that is.
foundational
We're
constitutional
going to round you
beliefs-
up and sort it out later.
Exactly.
No way. Yeah.
Innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. And people don't, I mean, I know we were all trained in it, but that's when people are like, well, what if they're illegal? I'm like, well, if they are, we'll figure that out. But you got to follow the constitutional due process to figure that out. We all understand that. But that's been a difficult thing for us to kind of encapsulate in a bumper sticker, like the other side is like, well, get rid of all the illegals. The illegals are the problem. If you say otherwise, then you're supporting breaking the law. And we're like, no, we're not.
It's tough. And it's especially tough talking to people who have really subscribed to Trump's particular brand of populism. It's very knee-jerky. It's very emotional. It appeals to just your most based initial instinct. And it really feels right. Because what Trump has done is he's convinced a lot of people that their children are going to get raped, their children are going to get murdered, their wife is going to get murdered, their job's going to be taken away, and all while that's happening, they really think Democrats are laughing at them and taking their money to buy transgender surgery for illegals. Like they really do think that that is happening. So the first thing you have to do with that group of people is find a way to deprogram them. But how do you deprogram someone who is committed to misunderstanding?
Yes.
And how do you do that when the Minnesota politicians who are killed are MAGA, the firemen who are killed are MAGA, and Trump doesn't show up for that, and then you're like, no, the violence is happening.
At this point, I don't think a lot of people I think were willing to give him a shot in January. Even Dave Chappelle gave a pretty moving speech saying, look, your success is our success. You did us dirty last time. You've said some crazy shit, but we need you to be a leader.
Yes.
And he's shown time and again he's not interested in being a leader. He wants his gold Qatari jet. He wants to sell his perfumes. He wants to be king and have little parades on his birthday. That's what he wants to do. And candidly, I don't think he's even fully aware of a lot of the policies that are being affected in his name.
Right.
He seems surprised sometimes when people come to him. He'll say with a straight face, we're not touching Medicaid. I think he believes it. I think he believes that.
Well, he didn't realize that the Surgeon General's not a practicing surgeon.
Because he sees her on TV and thinks, that. But that's the issue we're having. It goes back to there is an alternate reality people are living in. So if you're going to have a policy discussion and you're going to say, hey, we want to approve the state of affairs, we want to improve our life as it is right now, it's very hard to have that conversation with someone who is not living in the same reality you are. So that goes back to what we talked about where we said, hey, illegals aren't coming to your school to give transgender surgery to your child. That's insane. Where did you even hear that? I have far-right people in my family. They were 100% convinced that if Kamala Harris became president, they were going to lose all their guns, they'd be arrested if they had guns, and their taxes would go up.
It's nuts.
And I've asked, where are you seeing that? They can't even remember. And part of that is because they're being barraged with misinformation and talking points from bad actors. I don't even know if it's Fox News, to be quite honest. It traditionally, yes, and Fox bears a lot of blame for what's happened here, but it's splintered out. You have a few bigger players we know about, like Laura Loomer made the news today because she said something like, we're going to feed 65 million people to the alligator Alcatraz, which I can see you nodding. It just so happens 65 million is roughly the Hispanic population in the United States. That's not someone going after criminals. That's someone who's promoting ethnic cleansing.
That's right.
The problem is you have a bunch of people like that who are independent of Fox.
Yes.
So now we have a subsect of propagandists, influencers, whatever you want to call them, for those who felt the content on Fox didn't go hard enough. So it's a little alarming. I don't really have an answer for what we do about that population. It's very easy to say meet them at their level, meet them on the streets. But these are online spaces. These are spaces that are not, you can't find them on a map.
But aren't there people that agree with Republican conservatism who are smart enough to say that we can't agree with the way these policies are implemented?
So if I'm understanding, it's, hey, let's say you're a conservative-minded person, but you're very educated, and you're like, look, I don't want people who are here undocumented. I don't want people breaking the law, but we could at least agree that an unmarked van with people wearing masks, just picking people off the street, is probably not the best way to handle it.
And that the First Amendment should be protected, that you can't call in the Marine Corps on militarized. And I mean, there seems like there are people out there that can be disagreed on policy, but smart enough to see that we're all connected to our foundational democracy. And I don't know where those people are because they're not on social media that's responding to me.
Or the Supreme Court, at least.
Well, the Supreme Court, I don't even know what happened. Those people are...
It's alarming. It's certainly alarming.
Like how did you even find these kinds of crazy-ass judges that I've been practicing for 30 years? I've not seen extremist judges like this on any court level.
The mental gymnastics is alarming when you read some of the opinions. And I am proud of Justice Brown, Justice Sotomayor. Like, they're sticking up and they're trying to create a record for future generations to see, like, hey, this is not how this is supposed to go. But you're right. There are educated people who lean that way. I think the problem, and I'm guilty of this too, we're all guilty of it, a strong enough emotion overwhelms all intelligence and
100%.
education. Look, we've all been there. We're people in the world. I've been angry. And the dumbest I ever am is when I'm really pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, you just forget all logic and reason. And the best way to do that, Trump knows, is to tell you over and over and over again, the criminals and rapists are coming for your family. The socialists are coming for your money. The Democrats are coming for your house. And he keeps hammering that. So I think what we're seeing in the most inhumane things, the alligator Alcatraz, I think, is particularly distasteful and disgusting, what's going on with that. What we're seeing is a fear response, because like when we see these historic movements where seemingly ordinary people are on board with atrocities, it's because they believed something absurd that wasn't true, and they were afraid of where it was going. What it is, it's fear. There's really not that many true sadists on the planet. There are out there, but there's really not that many people in the Republican Party who genuinely just want to see people suffer because it makes them feel good. They are so scared. They are so afraid that they think any violence or destruction on the perceived enemy is okay. And it's really more a sense of safety. They're like, I need you to beat up these illegals so that they don't come for me.
Right.
So that's the sense I'm seeing. Granted, I'm just picking up what I see online.
Right.
I get a lot of activity on my accounts, and I can kind of see what the talking points are. And I'm seeing more fear. I'm definitely seeing hate, but it's a fear-fueled hate.
It's a fear hate.
How do we fix that? I don't know. I'm open to ideas. We need to convince Trump's base that the thing they are most afraid of truly is not a threat to them. The problem is when you say that, they go, oh, so you're not going to do any immigration enforcement? No, we can do enforcement. We honestly, we want to protect you from criminals.
I think it's important.
Which is why I'm so alarmed as well when a response to some of the things were, well, Obama deported so-and-so. I'm like, then wouldn't that be a positive for you? If he did that and he did it without rounding up people in mass, wouldn't you say, so he's doing what you wanted him to do?
Well, they see it as a gotcha because remember, there's that fear instinct and it overwhelms the education instinct. Yes. So there's layers. What we're seeing, and I get it a lot too. They'd be like, oh, but you were silent when Obama deported so many illegals. I hate the word illegals. That's a whole other thing. Deported so many people. Again, it's just what you said. It's not that we're not saying don't deport anybody. There are certainly cases where that's appropriate. We're saying don't just deport everyone under the sun because their skin was too dark for you, or you heard them speaking Spanish, or you got an anonymous tip from someone that they might be illegal. By the way, you're deporting lawful residents. You know,
And
I'm not
citizens.
saying, yeah, I'm not saying Obama didn't make any mistakes under his administration. I'm sure mistakes were made, but you know, it's almost like I've raised a lot of hell over the wanton destruction of the federal workforce, and I have a lot of Republican voices coming in saying, "Well, Clinton reduced the federal workforce. Clinton laid off all these people." Yes, he did. Over the course of 8 years, with input from Congress, with checks and balances, with a careful assessment of who was doing what work before you let them go. Never once did Clinton have to figure out, oh my God, I fired all the people who manage our nuclear weapons. What do I do? Never once did Clinton say, oh shit, we don't have interpreters. We don't have someone to translate Farsi for us. What happened? We fired them. That's happening in a slash and burn approach. So you're absolutely right. It's not that we don't want deportation to happen. It's an appropriate tool. It's not that we don't want to shrink excess personnel in the federal workforce. Of course, that's a good idea, but it's the way it's being done.
So back to your question about how do we solve this? And I think that we need to step back and change the actual way we approach the situation. I don't agree that we need to convince his base, because his base is long gone. They drank the Kool-Aid. They are committed. And even if they aren't, they want to save face, because I know a few people like that. I was a one issue
people
voter.
Love admitting that they're wrong. What are you talking about?
I was a one issue voter. I didn't vote for all this, but there's just too much now that they won't accept it, and so they're just going to fall in line. I believe, and I don't know statistically, but that cannot be the majority. That can't be the majority. And so understanding that that base is now forever gone, no reason is ever going to get in. What about the populace? The populace who's maybe in the middle to the other side, what can we do? Because the power is in the people. We are the majority voice, varying levels. Let's use economics. Economic boycotts are extremely powerful, useful tools, and they have actually made changes where politicians haven't been able to over history. Montgomery, apartheid, farm workers.
To the Latinos at the front of the Hollywood Bowl at the mariachi festival.
So those are
are voting for Trump.
So I'm sure
And
you've
you're
heard
like,
of the
what?
self-hating Latinos who aren't one of us anymore because they're either not first gen or they have money and they align very much with Trump's policies. There's that, but those, again, I put them in the bucket of people who have drank the Kool-Aid. I don't care what color they are. You know, it's irritating being that they look like me, and I'm like, they're gonna pick your ass up if you're walking on the wrong side of the street.
Hey, it's jarring. A lot of people who look like me are wearing the Trump hats and the Punisher t-shirts.
Right.
You know, it's funny. In my day-to-day life, when I'm not in my business attire, I wear. People say my style is tactical looking, and I've been told that I look like a Republican from a distance.
You do. You look like you could be
It's a little
abductor.
jarring. I'm like, oh God, sorry guys. I have to wear a shirt or something.
He works out. What can you say?
I don't know, but you bring up a good point. I think ultimately it's just coming down to self-interest. At the end of the day, everyone's voting in what they think is in their self-interest.
Right.
And a lot of people voted for Trump because they were scared. And so their self-interest was telling them, hey, a lot of people voted for him reluctantly. A lot of people held their nose when they voted for this guy.
Sure.
I'm going to be honest. One of the challenges I've had is with my own family. My mother voted for this guy.
Yeah.
And she has told me over and over again she held her nose because she finds him personally repugnant.
Wow.
But she was convinced that if Kamala Harris became president, she was going to lose her home.
So what do you say to people that have experienced something like you, similar to what your mom, how she voted? How do you approach them now? Like, so do you still think he was the right choice?
You know, when you deal with that segment of the population, there's a lot of pride.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They won't to save
the
face.
Closest thing I've gotten is, had I known what I know now, maybe I would have done something different.
Okay.
Which is the closest thing to, oh, I fucked up that I'm ever going to get.
Okay.
But it's not about, I want to live in a United States where liberty and justice for all is actually honored. I want to live in a United States where we don't need to fear our own government. I want to live in a United States where you can say that you have a problem with what the government is doing. I think one of the coolest things about being an American, it's that rebel culture runs in our blood.
Yes.
Where if we're pissed off, you can flip off the president.
Yeah.
You can't threaten him. That's not appropriate. But if you're mad, you can say, fuck the president, fuck this policy.
Yes.
And you shouldn't be detained at an airport if you have a meme of the vice president that they feel is unflattering. That's the America I want to live in. And I think a lot of people want that, so long as they are safe. But what the United States has failed to do, especially over the last 15 years, this has been a long-running program. The United States is failing to take care of people's needs. What we are seeing is a growing percentage of the population that is economically stressed.
Yes.
They're not hopeful of the future. They do not trust the government to protect them. That's why they're so hyper about, yes, let's kidnap as many of these criminals off the streets.
Yeah.
I'm doing air quotes.
Yeah. They're finally doing,
so
the government's doing something for me.
It's the hierarchy of needs, and the base of the pyramid isn't being met. Ironically, if we could somehow implement more progressive policies in more places, even in a scattered kind of way, I think that would fix the issue, because it's been shown that populations tend to be more altruistic and tend to be more collaborative when their basic needs are met.
Right.
And that's because they're not like you're not stranded on an island fighting over the last bits of food, is what it feels like.
Yes.
There's this zero-sum game where people feel like whatever there is to have is running out and they feel threatened. My mom voted for a monster, and she knows he's a monster. And she's disgusted with him, but she voted for him because she was afraid she would lose her house. I remember I had the conversation. I asked, they got very, very defensive. The conversation didn't go well, but I was just trying, where are you seeing that Kamala's going to tax you so much you lose your house? Where is that coming from? I think what happened there is they couldn't cite a specific source because there's so much they're being bombarded with all the time, but they believe it.
Is she going to lose her Medicare?
Probably. Well, the thing is, it's that privilege again. You know, my parents are going to be insulated from the consequences. They live in California, which California takes better care. Look, California gets a lot wrong. I've been very critical of our government in the past, but overall it takes better care of its people than a lot of the other states do. So they're insulated just by living in California, and then they have me. I do well. They're going to be okay. So I don't know if that's fair, but that's what's going to happen. Maybe they'll see a friend who's affected. I don't know. Yeah. Until someone's affected personally, it's hard for them to realize that they've made a mistake.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's also important to address here is, yes, the people being hunted and targeted look like me and are me. To have allies that don't look like me out there speaking and using their platform and advocating for us on an optics level, on a narrative level, you don't realize, I mean, maybe you do, I don't know if you do, but and you too, what that does to reinvigorate and give hope and give some sort of like, I'm not alone. They all don't think we're illegal rapists. Like somebody out there is gunning for me.
Yeah.
And in that same conversation, I don't think enough of the people who feel so scared, rightfully so, and who are being hunted, who are American citizens, are using their American citizenship in their favor. Why are we, and again, this is a controversial topic and people will come for me for this one. Why are you walking around not holding an American flag if you are American citizen? This is about changing the narrative at this point. I'm a proud Mexican-American person. I'm as proud as they come. But I'm an American citizen first. And what that side has been able to do is demonize and weaponize being an American. If you don't look like this group, you are illegal, you are a rapist, you need to be deported, and you're going wherever. And I feel that we're in a position right now where we're becoming not subservient, but victimized by it. And we're just in a state of paralysis right now.
Well, the ultimate contradiction is that Trump has said that the naturalization of citizens or that the birthright citizenship should go away when his wife and kids would not qualify as citizens. And you're like, what? That this is a travesty of justice that is tearing our country apart, except for my wife and children
they're different.
And you're like, what are you,
well,
how is
that
that even?
Look like
I get
this.
it, but it's like such a it's just like contradictions.
It's a few things,
180-degree contradiction. How do you even deal with that?
I think there's two things that go on there. The first, it's impossible to ignore the sort of racial supremacy that is paramount to Trump's policies. He's bringing in refugees from South Africa. Of course, they're all white. It's very clear who he thinks or what he thinks Americans should look like. That's his opinion. I don't agree with him. There's also something interesting that happens, and I think there's been a loss of seeing the humanity in others. This idea that, oh yeah, well, my child was the son of an immigrant, but ours, don't you know ours? If you knew our story,
That's
you'd
right.
see why it's
We came in
different.
the right
we
way.
did it and we had so much struggle, and yeah, we didn't do it totally legally, but it wasn't our fault. The system's fucked up, and it's like, wait, pause. Like, do you see? Like, can't you understand that there are people who would love to do it the right way, but it is prohibitively expensive.
That's right.
It is prohibitively time-consuming.
Well, and not even when they're doing it the right way, and then their cases are canceled and rounded up while they're doing it the right way. What can you expect anyone to do if you say, and if you do it the right way, that only allows us to know exactly where you are to arrest you. Why would anybody do that?
Candidly, I think the real game plan here, if I can put on my tinfoil hat for a minute, Trump's not running the show. I've had the misfortune of seeing two men in my life experience severe mental decline. And I'm telling you, this guy's got mental decline. He doesn't know his ass from his elbow.
Steve Bannon.
I'm thinking Stephen Miller, Russell Vought, and all the other ghouls with the Project 2025 people. Stephen Miller's really running the show. And I think what they want is that double-edged sword where it's, if you do it the right way, it's going to be so difficult, so expensive, so dangerous that it's not even worth it. Or we're going to kidnap you when you show up to court. And if you do it the wrong way, we're going to kidnap you anyway. Like, I think they just truly don't want any immigration at all. I think that's the real plan. I think they want no immigration.
But what's the ultimate plan? What's the ultimate thing? Because I got to tell you, if you get rid of, I mean, we all know this. If you take out that segment completely, and let's say 5 years from now, everyone's either gone or scared, how does the economy even survive that?
You know, I think what I'm picking up from the far right, and when I say far right, I'm talking the Russell Voughts, the Stephen Millers, like you think Trump is bad. Those guys are spooky. They're ghoulish. Wow. The stuff that they say is frightening. Russell Vought saying that he is going out of his way to demoralize the federal workers and make them afraid to show up to work. To say that out loud is pretty frightening, but knowing that he believes that is even worse. I think what I'm seeing from the Stephen Miller side of things is they're willing to accept any economic consequence because they have so much fear of non-whites and so much fear of outsiders in the United States that I believe that they are okay with decimating the actual population.
But the math isn't mathing.
Hate doesn't make sense. And fear overwhelms that educated side of your brain. It's almost like if you, if you are on fire, you will jump into the nearest body of water. And if I tell you, hey, there's piranhas in there, you're like, yeah, but I'm on fire. I think the fear-hate complex inside the minds of some of these people running policy in Trump's camp have so much fear and so much hate that economic consequences be damned.
Right. But it will not be tolerated. It can't be tolerated by the rest of the population who is thrown into such a deep recession without food on the table, without various things.
Yeah. That's my big concern. Maybe
not today.
The attacks on federal infrastructure are intolerable. What Musk has done, he's correctly calculated that he should stay out of the spotlight for a while. But I hope people don't forget how much damage this man did. He exposed all of Americans' data to not just foreign actors, Iran, China, all that. You better believe they've got everyone's information at this point. Not only do they create unacceptable leaks in our military infrastructure, our federal infrastructure, our financial infrastructure, but they've also given that data to Palantir and other AI companies. The damage to the federal government's ability to do its job. And here's the thing, what they did is they left little landmines. You can't just run roughshod through federal data systems like that. You can't just run roughshod through IT and fire everyone that you see. What has happened is the United States now has substantially less capabilities than it did 6 months ago. Of
course.
But they're going to find that on an ad hoc basis. They're going to say, oh, we need an interpreter to interpret Farsi, and go, oh, shit, we fired all the interpreters. They're going to say, hey, we need to send money to XYZ programs. Hey, for some reason, our link doesn't work. These programs don't talk to each other anymore. And you find, oh, Doge fucked that up. You go, hey, we need someone to do XYZ. Why am I saying that? I think what the Republicans are counting on is that the federal government has become or will become so dysfunctional that just through brute force and through noise, they don't really have to worry about answering to their constituents anymore. That's my tinfoil hat concern.
That's the destruction of a country.
It would be the destruction of the federal government, that's for sure.
But
how does the country work without that?
Look,
well, you've got 50 small countries at that point. I don't know what happens at that point. I do fear people throw the word balkanization around, and it's a really quick way to get canceled because you sound ignorant. I'm not saying the United States would be like the Balkans. I'm saying that if Trump continues down the path he is going, the total lack of accountability, he is forcing through his big, beautiful bill that half the country is telling him, this is outrageous, we don't want this is a disaster. And he can't say, oh, I have a mandate. You don't have a mandate. At a minimum, you have a mandate to compromise. You're supposed to be a president for all Americans. We know he's not. He's not even a president to his own base. That's another thing.
That's true.
But just to impose this, to have a federal government that is not responsive to the needs of the people, that doesn't take care of the people, yet continuously taxes the people and imposes burdens on them like this, I think what's going to happen is if something doesn't get fixed soon, the federal government may fracture entirely and not be able to do what it sets out to do.
Right.
And if that happens, then I think you're going to have 50 states going, well, what the fuck? The federal money that we were counting on for this project didn't come through. We have goods that we're trying to send to another country, and we normally facilitate that with the feds. Like what? And we might see something with the fall of the USSR where all the independent republics go, oh, shit, we don't have a federal government anymore. I guess we're independent.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I don't see like civil war, secessions. People like to throw that around. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think our worst case scenario is the federal government simply stops functioning, and then independent states, just by necessity, start acting independently. I hope we don't get that way. We are stronger together. We have so much to gain by working together.
Right.
The fear-hate industry has really done a number on everybody.
Right.
Anyway, that's a lot of crazy thoughts at once, so you may disagree.
I don't disagree at all. They're thoughts, right? And everything's on the table at this point.
I'm just getting so upset and depressed. And this is a real issue that we've been dealing with, is that when you dig down deep and you see the destruction of foundational things that we know are so critical to our way of life, our country, our children, it's hard to digest sometimes.
I'm not sure what happens. In the damage, it's the depth of the damage is pretty frightening. The Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Administration, I don't think they're even able to enforce anything anymore. The National Labor Relations Board, all their data got leaked. Musk went in there, opened up files he wasn't supposed to look into because he had something like over 20 enforcement actions against companies he owned, and you better believe he just ground those to a halt. We know that a server in Russia was accessing the NLRB database while Doge was in there. Not saying that they coordinated it or they were like in cahoots with the Russians.
Right.
The fact is they created a vulnerability that was exploited, and that's just the one we know about.
And we know that the cartels have infiltrated the governmental networks to find confidential informants and are eliminating them. That is the type of information that, when there's a backdoor channel, every country, every sophisticated group in the world is walking right through that.
And this is the separation of realities. So you and I, we're all very concerned about the damage to federal infrastructure and the weaknesses that have been created. That conversation doesn't exist on the right.
I know.
On the right, they're all refreshing the Doge savings website, which we all know is bullshit. They're just making up numbers. And they're so excited. No, he's exposing the fraud. And the Democrats, I've seen some crazy stuff. The Democrats are screeching because their fraud is finally being exposed. It's like, no, man, the freaking Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is being attacked.
Yeah.
They lost half their head count. That's not saving money. That is empowering abuse.
Yes.
That is empowering big banks to overcharge you on overdrafts or open up accounts and charge you insane interest rates. That's empowering fraudsters to take your information. Now you have no recourse. Like, they just don't. The other thing that Trump did very well is he demonized the bureaucracy.
Oh, yes.
It's interesting. He's taking notes line by line from Star Wars. It's exactly what Emperor Palpatine did to rise to power. If you watch episode 1, there's, the bureaucrats aren't responsible to the people anymore. Well, fascism has a playbook, and it's a predictable playbook. And mind you, George Lucas, he was inspired in part not just by samurai culture for the Jedi, but also World War II was only 2 decades prior to the writing of this. He was inspired by fascist movements when he created the empire and when he wrote that story. Demonizing the bureaucracy is very effective for someone who's trying to create an authoritarian movement, because the bureaucracy is where your checks and balances are.
Yes.
That's not to say all bureaucracy is good.
Right.
Go to the DMV. It fucking sucks. But when you have bureaucracy, you have accountability.
Yeah.
When you have one man who's accountable to no one, you've got authoritarianism. So by demonizing the bureaucracy, he has made it very easy to get a lot of inertia behind this. We need to fire the Office of the Special Counsel. We need to fire the Solicitors General. We need to purge the Department of Justice because these are all corrupt left-wing lunatics.
Yes.
And people believe that.
They do.
And it's wild. We have one Doge whistleblower. I forget his name. It's not Big Balls. It's not Big Balls. Big Balls is in the Social Security Administration right now doing God knows what. But we have one Doge whistleblower saying, yeah, we didn't find a lot of fraud. Believe it or not, there is fraud. There is fraud, left and right. Senator Mendez, remember him? He had, what, $10 million of gold bars from Egypt or something like that. Corruption happens.
Right.
But we had watchdogs. And so a lot of these Doge kids, some of them
caught,
are saying,
and he's in
and he was
prison.
caught. And they're saying, actually, there wasn't that much fraud. Maybe some inefficiencies. But there's really not this slush fund of Democrats just taking tax dollars out of the EEOC.
But they're going to write that
That's
guy
not what's
off.
happening. Oh, of course.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Trump's brand has been sell outrage, sell conspiracy theories, get people scared. But he's in charge. And his Republican Party has had the majority in Congress, not since this year, since 2022. A lot of people who are paying attention might have noticed a lot of progress on labor rights ground to a halt in 2022. It's because the House switched. We had the Pump Act, Pregnant Workers Fairness Act. Biden signed those into law in 2022. They were working on a heat safety standard with OSHA. They were working on banning non-competes in employment. The minute Republicans took control of that House, they put the kibosh on all of that.
course.
Thank God the Pump Act and the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act were already signed into law, because you better bet the Republicans would have crushed them.
Oh.
You better bet. So, man, I get pissed off. Everyone's like, Ryan, why do you hate Republicans so much? I don't hate the Republican people. I hate the Republican platform.
That's right.
Because, frankly, 99% of Republicans would not be Republicans if they had the facts. And the facts are the Republican platform is hostile to working class people.
And that's it.
That is it.
That's it.
It's upsetting. So, yeah.
We want to conclude on a positive note.
Let's do that.
But
Let's get positive.
Because you do have a platform,
Yeah.
we have a platform, we have power because people listen to us. And I think right now people trust our platforms and content creators more so than leadership, understandably. What would you propose to people listening to you? Like, I know of all of the stuff we're talking about, all very realistic and important. What 3 points of advice would you share with anyone listening right now? Like, well, Ryan, what can we do? Like, is there hope? Should I just move out of the country now?
Easier said than done. That's not an option for most people.
Right.
To be quite honest, it's so easy to say, oh, well, just leave if you don't like it.
What can the average person do?
Yeah. The first thing you need to do is take care of yourself.
What does that mean?
We are in a pretty serious fight for the soul of the country right now. This is serious stuff. But we can't lose sight of what we're fighting for. We're fighting for an America that celebrates and rewards innovation, that celebrates and rewards honesty, community, empathy. These are the values we care about. And if we lose those because we've fallen into despair, then what the fuck are we fighting for anymore?
Yes.
So the very first thing is going to be take care of yourself and make time for joy. I've been promoting that on my channels a lot.
Same.
I've been sharing like my paintball hobby a lot with people to show like, hey, it's scary, but I'm making time
Good for
to
you.
meet up with a group of guys and just have fun and enjoy my life. And
Good for
while
you.
I'm doing this, I'm building community.
Right.
Because strong communities weather tough times. Trump is not forever.
Right.
He's not. He eats 1 million Big Macs a day. He doesn't exercise. He's got people putting poxes on him all day long. This guy's
Yeah.
not going to be around forever.
Right.
And when he is gone, yes, there's a lot of scary infrastructure behind him that's going to try to take power, but they do not have the brand loyalty this guy does.
That's true.
And when we come out on the other side of this, we don't want to have lost our joy and our community. So the very first piece of advice is protect your joy, get out there and make plans with friends, be part of the
Enjoy your
community.
life.
Enjoy your life as best you can. And I understand you're saying, well, there's the children in Gaza, the firefighters were murdered. Like, what am I going to do? It's like, you can't let someone guilt you into finding moments of joy.
That's right.
You have to find moments of joy, however small. So that's the first thing. The second thing, do not minimize the importance of your voice. I have so many people who say, oh, I can march on the street, but it doesn't do anything. Yes, it does. Our numbers on the street, it galvanizes the people who are on the front lines. It shows them that, hey, they're fighting for something that matters and their constituents care. It nudges the people who are in the middle, those vulnerable Republicans, those maybe centrist Democrats. It shows them, hey, this is the overwhelming will of the people,
Right.
regardless of what Trump wants. And also it builds community. I loved the No Kings protest in San Diego.
Yeah.
It was warm.
That was powerful,
It was
too.
joyful. There were families. There was music. There was art.
that.
It was
I'm
beautiful.
hoping
Most of the
those-
protests have been that way.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping those continue till, even though it's a long way away, theoretically, the midterm elections at the end of next year, right? Because then you go and you're like, well, my vote doesn't matter. If everybody actually voted, right, and didn't not vote because their vote didn't matter, I think we would see real change.
You know what's interesting? You know who's been the real winner of every election for the past 30 years?
Who?
No vote. That's the majority.
There's more people not voting.
More people
than
not
voting.
voting than actually voting.
Yeah.
That's a trend we see, especially in local elections and the sort of midterm elections, presidential elections. That's the Olympics. Everyone comes out for that.
Sure.
You know, but that's the third thing people need to do is get involved locally.
Yes.
You would be shocked how powerful local government positions really are. So much gets affected by who your school superintendent is. If you don't believe me, look at Oklahoma. Oh my God. Looking at setting aside $3 million for Trump Bibles. Thank God that got quashed. A guy that can't find money to feed kids, but we can find $3 million to buy Trump Bibles. Those local elections matter. So protect your community, protect your joy, don't minimize the importance of your voice, and pay attention to local leadership. It matters. Your county supervisor has more impact on your daily life
That's
than
right.
Trump ever could, honestly.
That's true.
Your county supervisor can really fuck your life up
Absolutely.
if they're so inclined. So pay attention to that shit.
Well, Ryan, I just have to thank you so much and be so grateful to you because you are one of the very few voices, legal voices, that are out there advocating smartly and authentically. And you were one of the very first ones. And speaking from the lawyer position, I'm a little surprised that more are not using their platform when we've sworn an oath to the Constitution to protect civil rights. You are doing it, and I hope more are inspired to follow your lead because it is the right thing to do.
Well, I'm very grateful to both of you, really. Thank you for everything you've done locally, holding our leaders accountable, galvanizing the community, risking yourselves. It is risky to go out there.
Yes.
Especially you, Gina, when you have, a Hispanic last name, when you have the look, it's scary.
Well, it's funny
to put
when you
yourself
were
out there.
talking about how you have your privilege and you were describing your privilege. You own a law firm, you know powerful people, all the things. I'm like, I have that. I have that. I have the privilege of a white man. I just look like this. So all the privileges you have, I have.
We're using what tools we have
That's right.
to help. And as far as the lawyers who aren't speaking up, look, I'm not a fan of compelled speech. I think it's just as bad as censorship.
Oh, it's the worst.
People can have a million reasons why they don't want to speak up. I'm choosing to speak up. You're choosing to speak up. I hope people know that we're not fearless. I have fears too.
Scared every day.
But I'm doing it, and so help me God, I haven't disappeared yet. But even if I did, I wouldn't have regrets. Because I'm following my heart, and I hope that there's anyone who really feels it, but they're scared to speak up. One day they see us, and they go, you know what? I'm done being on the sideline. I'm ready to join the fight.
I'm going to make a little statement different than that and tell everybody who might be looking at this, who are lawyers that are not speaking up. You think courage is not having fear. That's not going to happen. Courage is having fear and fucking doing it anyway.
Hell yeah. Do it
right?
scared.
So I get when people go, well, I'm afraid. No shit. Everybody's afraid. Of course.
Yeah.
But this
you
is
wanna
where
be courageous, be afraid,
Yeah.
and do it anyway. And that's one of the things you have stepped up more than anybody
Yes,
we know.
I agree.
Really.
Well,
right?
thank you guys.
Yeah.
And it's really
So
inspiring
bravo.
seeing what you're doing. Really, there's a lot of love at this table, a lot of friendship at this table. So thank you for everything.
All right. So
Amazing.
we'd love to have you back in a few months to see where we are.
Yeah, let's see what's going on.
Probably wind up talking at a detention center.
Yeah, we'll probably be the alligator.
Oh my
Alcatraz,
God,
what do
I
they call
hope
it?
not. I hope not. We'll
Oh.
see what happens over these next few months, but we'll buckle up and we're going to stick together. Okay?
Thank you, Ryan.
All right. Thank you.